More than 23 years have passed now since the September 11th attacks. Police and firefighters are still being diagnosed with medical conditions related to responding to Ground Zero.
But cuts from the Trump administration have left 9/11 survivors looking for answers. WECT's Connor Smith was at an event earlier today where dozens of first responders learned about their health care options moving forward. Connor, they say they're getting left behind.
Yeah, that's right, Fran. Since 2011, the World Trade Center Health Program has paid for treatment for 9/11 related medical issues. But the survivors depending on the program say these cuts couldn't come at a worse time. It's one of the darkest days in our nation's history, and 2 decades later, its impacts linger for countless first responders.
I lost a lot of my guys that I worked with that day. Only a few of us made it out.
I've been diagnosed with several different cancers over the last 20 years.
Many of the people that responded on September 11th and spent months helping afterwards are still battling health issues today, some of them right here in our community. Dozens of types of cancers and respiratory illnesses are linked to the attacks, but a federal program that pays for treatment and research could soon be short billions of dollars.
We take this personally, and I'm not going to stop fighting until everybody gets the benefits to which they're entitled.
On Wednesday, attorney Michael Barish spoke to roughly 50 9/11 first responders and survivors in downtown Wilmington about their options. The Trump administration has slashed parts of the World Trade Center Health Program, and unless Congress steps in, the program could soon cut services to survivors and stop enrolling new members.
It was the largest terrorist attack in our nation, and the fact that anyone could forget would be shocking.
Lynn Glazer was supposed to be in the World Trade Center on September 11th. Helping at Ground Zero afterwards meant years of sickness and help from the program. Today, she lives in Wilmington. Former New York firefighter Richard Gimbel lives in Sunset Beach. He was at Ground Zero that day.
We'll always be there for you. We actually will be there for us now, in our time of need.
They were told we would never forget, and unless something changes, they will feel forgotten. Barish also emphasized to the group today that they need to take advantage of the health resources that are still in place for them. That includes free screenings and treatment. He says they can't wait until it's too late. Fran?
Connor, what are some of the options for these survivors that you spoke to today?
Yeah, so Barish encouraged them to contact their congressional representatives and urge them to fund the health program completely. He says he'll also be lobbying in Washington, D.C. next week, trying to get over $3 billion in funding.
All right, Connor, thanks for that report.